I got the Rolex. I got the Tesla. I even got a Cybertruck. Like, I just kept going, but it wasn't fulfilling.
What was tied into that mindset around growth that maybe wasn't healthy?
The short and sweet answer of it is ego.
Lane Wright is the owner of Executive Cleaning Services who built a local empire, let ego nearly destroy it, and had to rebuild everything from scratch.
When I started this business from the very beginning, it was started on faith. I had $500 in my bank account. When everything started falling apart, I kind of gave up, and this is a dirty little secret of mine, but I actually went and got a normal job and kind of hid from the business altogether.
What was driving the expansion that made you kind of run past some of these yellow flags, red flags?
I tried to expand too aggressively, didn't vet the people that were coming on. The next thing you know, it's just one thing after another. Everything started crumbling from beneath me.
What advice do you give to the young folks out there, maybe particularly the young men out there?
There's been this trend out there of people like, oh, just give the bird to your 9 to 5 and just go start your thing. No, you need to have that fallback. I think that's probably the most irresponsible thing you can do as a husband or a wife. I went so far as to restarting everything I renamed the company. I went through all of my files, my systems. I reached out to clients and said, hey, I'm back.
Welcome back to the Colorado Business Podcast, #1 business podcast in Colorado. Today, I'm joined with my co-host, Chris Seegers. How you doing, brother?
Good, brother. How are you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm excited about this interview here. But before we get to our interview, who is our guest or our sponsor, actually?
Our
Andrew.
guest sponsor.
Yeah.
It's fastscience.com. Check them out. They have a location off of Academy. They've been around for a long time and they do amazing things. Check them out.
Yes, owned by Pete Casera.
Pete
that was a great
Casera,
episode
yes.
too. We have to have him back again.
Yeah,
He's been a
'cause-
long-standing
yeah.
sponsor for quite some time now, huh?
And also, like, I had an AI as audio because his audio cut out that episode. That was not good. So, yeah.
Yeah, we got to redo that one for sure.
Yeah.
We got to give him another one for sure. Well, we're excited today. We have Lane Wright with Executive Cleaning Services. How you doing, brother?
I'm good, man. How are y'all?
It's been 2 years since you've been on, so It's been quite some time. We're excited to catch up with you again. It's funny because we just kind of short noticed you to get you on the show today.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, by the way, we're going to have Chris Seegers on to co-host with me. And you're like, that's great. I just talked to him and met him today. So small world here in Colorado Springs.
Yep.
But how you doing, man? How's the business been going? Tell us what's been new with you.
Well, business has been going good. And last time I was here, I was really amped up on expanding and growing like crazy and all that kind of stuff. And actually decided to pull back a little bit on that and focus just here on Colorado Springs. I got remarried to the love of my life.
Congratulations, man.
Thank you. She's been helping me blow the business up, helping me stay focused, grounding me. So that's been great.
That's awesome, man. So talk a little bit about that. I know Chris will probably want to jump in about this too, but like the expansion that you're talking about a couple of years back, what were some of the pitfalls that happened with that, like expanding to different markets and some things that you noticed that, made you kind of come back here and centralize everything back into Colorado Springs again?
I would say it was actually because of me not having the right systems in place. I tried to expand too aggressively and didn't have all my ducks in a row, didn't vet the people that were coming on, all that kind of stuff. And the next thing you know, it's just one thing after another. Everything started crumbling from beneath me.
Can I ask, what was driving the expansion that made you kind of run past some of these yellow flags, red flags, et cetera? What was kind of the driving thing? Because we see a lot of social media influencers that are like, you got to grow by this percent and it's easy and it's not stressful and it can be passive. But what was tied into that mindset around growth that maybe wasn't healthy that you could share with our audience?
The short and sweet answer of it is ego. I know in the last time that I was here, I talked about being humble. We talked about being humble and everything, but there's this little thing called ego that you don't really pay attention to that much, and it starts to creep up and really start to take hold of what's going on in your life, And so I just wanted to come home at the end of the day and be like, I have the biggest freaking cleaning company on the planet. And we've expanded to all these other different services and everything. We're doing detailing, we're doing mechanics, we're doing this. And yeah, it wasn't a healthy view on it, you know?
Interesting. That's really good.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, I mean, I think a lot of us, especially as entrepreneurs who are younger, starting up, there's like some validation that we need externally from the folks that maybe were just naysayers in our past, right? Like we all have that quote unquote chip on our shoulder for somebody who might have doubted us. And like I know for me, that's drived a lot of my business because I've just like with that little bit of anger, I've been able to like push forward and be like, I want to prove them wrong. And that's where the ego has kind of crept in for me, where I'm like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do these festivals all over the country or make them the biggest festivals ever. And it's crept in. And while it's been great fuel, it's been the same thing for me too, of like ego and potentially making the wrong decisions, or maybe just not the right decisions at that moment for expansions for myself too. So I totally get it where you're coming from.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really interesting. My mentor, a guy named Dave Kunert, when I moved out to West Texas, which we have some Texas connections, I told everyone I'm moving here to start an oil business. And I knew nothing about oil and gas. And anyways, I progressed in that and ended up starting and selling and starting a second one with some really great partners. But my mentor was like, Chris, let me just present this. What if you're wrong? What if you should focus more on just being a great leader, regardless of what industry you're in, what business you're doing, and had that be the focus? Become a master at leadership and business mastery, and then just let God work out the other details. And he was totally right, because I had this identity tied into being a C-level or whatever. The ultimate thing is I wanted to learn how to serve people really well in the marketplace. And once I realigned that with kind of God, then that's when I became a lot more effective in my space. But it's hard when you're young, for sure.
To your point about God, that's been one of the huge driving factors in this kind of change of attitude and look out on business and all that kind of stuff as well. Shortly after the last time I was on, I hit all my personal goals. I got the Rolex, I got the Tesla, I even got a Cybertruck. Like I just kept going, but it wasn't fulfilling. And so actually when I met my wife, she was like, you need to center your life on God. She started dragging me back to church because I had been telling everyone, oh yeah, I go to church and all this kind of stuff, but I really wasn't going. And then she told me to get in the Word. And it's those types of things that it changed everything, like I said.
That's important. Would stay there for a sec because I think that's really important. I think we had this conversation 2 years ago, actually. I was asking if you, like where you were faith-wise, but I know for myself personally, it was the same thing when I got in a relationship with my girlfriend and really embraced the Word. Cause it's like, it's another thing for someone to say like, hey, like, are you reading Bible every day, or hey, are you going to church on Sunday? But it's so much more than that when you embrace your faith. As at least the three of us here, I know we're all Christians here, and how important that is to have that backing when you have uncertainty and so much in the business world. So unpack that a little bit more for us, like when you first were going into that experience and kind of what it meant for you.
At the beginning of the business or this turnaround for Lane?
Let's talk about
the
that.
good part.
Yeah.
When everything started falling apart, I kind of gave up hope. And this is a dirty little secret of mine, but I actually went and got a normal job. And kind of hid from the business altogether. And the business started falling apart. I had clients drop off. Cleaners didn't have direction, all that kind of stuff. And I was talking about it with Paula, is her name, one night. And she was like, you need to put it in God's hands. And you need to trust God more. You can only do so much as a human being. And that was a struggle, and I had to think about it for a couple of days. And I remembered that when I started this business from the very beginning, it was started on faith. It was, I had $500 in my bank account, and what am I going to do? And I saw people starting cleaning companies, and I was like, I'm going to try that. And the very next day, we got our first move out cleaning, and I had told no one about the company. I think I talked about that in the last episode. So I decided to go back to that, getting back to basics, How did I start, and how am I going to restart?
All right, folks. So we want to take a quick minute to introduce our diamond sponsor, Chris Seegers with Exceptional Business Advisors. Do you want to tell us a little bit about your business, sir?
Man, a question that we love to ask our potential clients is, do you know what your business is worth? And if you sold your business today, would it fulfill your personal and financial goals? If you're a successful business owner, but you don't know when or how to sell your business, and if you've ever wondered what each additional day in your business is actually costing you, we'd love to chat. If you're ready to spend more time with your family, your friends, or traveling, come sit down with our team, because when you work with exceptional business advisors, we'll help you build a blueprint to sell your business successfully and help you create, capture, and achieve your dream life. Don't wait for the right time. The time's now. Go ahead and scan the QR code or book a discovery appointment at excoadvisors.com.
Now let's get back to the show. All right, now check out some of the other amazing Colorado businesses who also make this show possible.
Rain Tech.
Rain Tech is a trusted IT partner that keeps your business running smoothly.
From cybersecurity to cloud solutions and data recovery, they've got your back so you can focus on what you do best.
Learn more at rain.tech. That's RAIN.tech.
Savion HQ. Is your back office chaos? Are you buried in HR, payroll, and financial guesswork?
Your passion shouldn't be a prison. Savion HQ is your fractional back office partner. We merge HR, payroll, accounting, and tax to bring order to the chaos and make your passion profitable again.
Stop the bleed, get your freedom back. Find us at savionhq.com or email at hello@savionhq.com.
Data Hubs is a compliance, intelligence, and orchestration platform that helps organizations meet the requirements of frameworks like ISO 27001, SOC 2, CMMC, HIPAA, GDPR, and more.
Data Hubs gives small and mid-sized businesses a premium compliance experience while cutting down the time, cost, and stress it usually takes to get across the finish line. Learn more at datahubs.com. That's datahubz.com.
Reveal Med Spa. Look and feel your best at Reveal Med Spas. With personalized plans that deliver real results, radiant skin, restored confidence, and natural rejuvenation.
At Reveal Med Spa, we see you. More than just aesthetic and wellness treatments, we provide a safe, judgment-free space where you feel valued, heard, and supported.
Visit revealmedspas.com.
I think it is literally just that too. We'll just double check. Book your next session at revealmedspas.com. That's revealmedspas.com. Awesome Home Services. Awesome Home Services delivers top-notch HVAC solutions for your home. Whether you need heating, cooling, or system maintenance, they ensure your comfort year-round. Visit awesomeservice.com for your HVAC needs. That's awesomeservice.com.
Dream Accounting Solutions. Take the stress out of managing your books with Dream Accounting Solutions. They provide reliable expert accounting services tailored to small businesses. Simplify your finances at dreamaccountingsolutions.com. That's dreamaccountingsolutions.com.
Exponential Impact. Exponential Impact is driving innovation and entrepreneurial success in Colorado Springs. Supporting startups with mentorship, funding, and community resources, they help businesses grow and thrive. Learn more about their impact at exponentialimpact.com. That's exponentialimpact.com.
And now let's get back to the show.
I don't know if Chris has gone through this, but I certainly have before, where you almost feel like you're starting over, and it's kind of talk about a huge hit to the ego, right? Because you're like, man, I built something so great. I have employees. I built something that, was seemingly so special, but then you find out, without systems or whatever there might be, that it's kind of like a house of cards, right? And you don't even realize it until something happens. And maybe it's a perfect storm to take things out, but nonetheless, it happens. And you find yourself in a position where you feel like you're in the same spot where you were before, but you're not, because you have the wisdom and you have all the gained knowledge that you had to build that business through those previous years. And so like I had an instance this past year and a half where I had to rebuild a marketing agency because I went out on my own without my partners. And for 3 months, I was six figures again. And 3 months, and I blew myself away. I'm like, it makes sense. I have those skills. I have those tools. I have the wisdom to build something again. And so talk about that too, because that's important, right? Is like, I think the most important thing about this show is like talking about those moments of adversity. Like that's the true things that people pull from the show is like adversity. How do you get through that? Because everybody could talk about how successful we are all day long, right? But like, it's the real shit that really gets us through, right?
Yeah. Trying to put it into words is difficult. It was more of I mean, I went so far as to restarting everything to I renamed the company. I toned back even the services that the company itself, just the cleaning company, offered. Um, I went through all of my files, my systems, physical software systems, and everything, and just restarted. I reached out to clients. I went back to the clients that we were still serving and said, "Hey, I'm back. Just want to say hello," because I pulled myself away so much to where the part of the local small business that some of these clients enjoy wasn't there, and that was me. So made it an effort to at least once a month I'm going to each of the cleans to check in, not on just on the cleaners, but also with the clients. Say hello, how are they? Um, those types of things to refocus myself. And pushing through the adversity aspect was just prayer. That was really it. I mean, there's no secret sauce to it other than praying and and giving it all to him, you know?
Yeah, there's a really good book I'm reading again, The Practice of the Presence of God by Brother Lawrence. It was written by a monk in, I don't know, 1800s or 1700s or maybe even earlier. And people came from hundreds of miles away to talk to him. And he was the lowest monk. He was the guy that cleaned the dishes, but he had the greatest helping of the Holy Spirit and connection with God. And people came to be like, how do you do this? And it's pretty simple. He came back to just your habits. He's like, I want to shorten the period of time that I'm connecting with God. So my prayer, my time in the Word, meditating or fasting. And we're doing a study right now that really kind of illuminates how do you exemplify the practice of your faith just like we would our fitness, right? It's the same thing. If you don't work out, you're going to gain weight, you're going to lose muscle mass. It's just part of the architecture of life. Your spiritual walk is the same exact thing. If we stop hanging out with believers, stop reading the Word, stop praying, we are going to atrophy in our relationship with God. It's something that we've got to always be diligent on. He always wants that relationship, right? He's like, hey, I want you back. I want you back. And it's been interesting as you tie it into your clients. When I forget I'm here to serve, that's when we get off the rails, right? Revenue growth and profit growth, and those are important. You need those things. But how you do that is you serve your clients really well and consistently, time after time after time. We were talking about that with the podcast. You guys have done so many episodes. The consistency is what's gaining a lot of the traction, creating an incredibly valuable product and a really high-end product, but also just doing a lot of them over a lot of period of time. So it's really interesting.
Yeah, it went from having a person in the office 24/7 answering phone calls and all that kind of stuff to I'm back doing it, which at first I felt a little ashamed of, you know? I was here, now I'm here. But it's been better. Before I came here, actually, I was just on the phone with a client that she was a little bit concerned about her floors not getting done good enough. And she is a client. She's very sweet, but she loves to talk. And that was a 35-minute conversation about her floors and her dogs and Christmas. And at the end of it, she said, "Thank you so much, Lane. I'm so excited to have them come tomorrow." So that has really improved things quite a bit.
How do you balance? This is something that I struggle with, which is we do need to be really diligent about our time, right? We need a time block. We need to make sure we're being efficient, but also creating the space for that, right? Because we're relational people. Like we need to have that relationship, but I can get so dogmatic about, and we talked about this before, I'm 2 weeks out, which is not healthy. Right? It doesn't create the space for the Holy Spirit or for potential clients just to be able to bomb into the office and say, "Hey, I want to talk to you about my floors today." Has there been something that's been useful about your approach, or maybe a learning that came out of this new transition?
At first, it was kind of just throwing things at the wall and see what sticks and trying to figure that out. It didn't work. Something that I actually started doing recently, I got one of those remarkable paper tablets. You actually saw it in your office yesterday. And I downloaded a daily planner on it. And so since that thing is e-ink and it has weeks of battery life, every night, either before I leave the office or when I get home, I write down everything that I got to do next day. And I write it down in hourly increments. And so at the end of the day, make sure all that is done and start the next one. Some things don't get done because we're busy people, but as long as I can see like the quantitative amount of time that I'm spending in each thing and knowing that it's getting done to as best as I can get it done, it's helped a lot.
I want to push into that though. So there's this concept, resume virtues versus eulogy virtues,
Mhm.
right? So the resume is like accomplishing, doing the things. The eulogy is relationships.
Mhm.
How do you fit that into, because we should be diligent, we should time block, we should have good habits, but how do you fit knowing, hey, the most important things when I die are going to be people talking about how great of a friend you are, how great of a husband you are, how great of a dad. How do you think about that? And even your clients saying, wow, he journeyed with us for 30 years and he was a man of integrity and he always did what he said and he impacted us. How do you balance the resume versus eulogy virtues as you're thinking about your year, your week?
I try to spend more time with people. I'm not probably going to sound contradictory, but I'm not a huge people person. Like I'm not a very social person. I prefer one-on-one time. So I've been going back through my circle in terms of relationships outside of my family and trying to reconnect with them. Like I actually just had a meeting last week with Andrew, just trying to reconnect with him. And other things like that. Just a simple text. Hey, how are you? Let's grab coffee sometime. Also connecting with competitors in the area. Not in like I want to figure out what you're doing, but who are you as a person?
Mm.
How can we help each other? In terms of family life, that was a boundary that I knew that I did not want to cross. So unless something catastrophic happens, I am always home at 6:00. Sometimes 7:00. But if it's past 7:00, I have done something wrong during the day that doesn't allow me to be home because I don't want to miss. My daughter is 7 years old. I don't want to miss those moments with her. She's learning piano. She's doing gymnastics. She's doing all these things, Of course, I miss some of the gymnastic practices, but when I can make it, I can be there. Same thing with my wife. That's something we're trying to get more in depth on is at least once every 2 weeks. It's just her and I. And that's hard to do in the evenings because the little one has activities, but
Mhm.
I'm the owner of the company. So what can I do? I can take off 2 hours during the day and go and hang out with her. So trying to focus more on those things.
That's really good.
Does it fill your cup up? I mean, I know for me, I have to block those out before anything because business will find a way seeping into those personal times. But it's good that you say like 6 or 7:00 is a no-go. I mean, thanks for being on the podcast, by the way, because I think it is like close to 7:00, by the way.
I
But,
just realized that.
But that's so important. Like, if does it fill your cup? Like watching your 7-year-old, doing her sports or being with your wife for a date night, like that fills my cup up personally. And so like, yeah, sometimes for me, I'm very competitive and very into business, but then I'm like, dude, this recharged my battery so much because I'm so happy. Like I'm so happy being here in this moment with these people I love,
One of my favorite moments is coming home and her name is Emma. And I open the garage door and she comes running out telling me about her practice that she did. Or the simple things like after everything's done, the animals are taken care of and all that. We don't have a farm. We just have 2 animals, but they're both special needs. So they take a lot of effort. Just sitting down and watching some TV with Paula. The simple things, they do fill me up. Like our first anniversary was January 17th. And at first I was thinking going all out and super extravagant, but then I was like, no, let's just keep it simple. So I asked my buddy for his Corvette and we went out to dinner and I went and got some kava because I'm a kava fan. And we just drove around and talked. What are our goals for this next year and 3 years and 5 years? And she wrote a lot of them down. Chris actually gave me an exercise that we can work on to work on that some more. But
The life sheet.
the life sheet.
It's a great tool, man. It's changed my life.
Yeah, no, once we fill it out, it'll probably do the same for us. But it's just those moments of peace and quiet, but still having that interaction, because she helps me in the business. So sometimes it's easy to get caught up in the business
Yeah.
and forget about I don't know, maybe too sappy for a podcast, but the romantic aspect of it.
That's
For sure.
important, man. That's your partner,
Yeah.
right? I mean, you're going through life. I mean, beyond business, she's there with you. She transcends business in a lot of ways, right?
Yeah, almost every way.
Yeah. That's interesting. So, and I know Chris has the same dynamic too, but like, I always wondered about that because you have different dynamics in relationships, but like a wife that works in the business with you. Explain that for our viewers, because a lot of folks are like, you know, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm going to get a wife that works in the business with me, but sometimes it doesn't work that way. But explain like the benefits, of course, of having that person, or sometimes some of the cons of like maybe not being able to turn off that hat when you guys get home. Talk about those dynamics.
I'll start with the cons. So
There we go.
at first, it was pretty much a living hell. We had to figure out those boundaries. When I come home, I don't bring anything up, and she doesn't bring anything up unless it's a very quick conversation on the next day. Like, hey, just making sure you confirmed with the client so that way we can dispatch the cleaners in the morning. That's it. The pros are, in her case, she's a math whiz. She owns several businesses back in Venezuela. So she also owns real estate there. So all of that brought into this has really helped me see things from a different light, and get in more into the nitty gritty details of where we're going wrong and all that kind of stuff. She always has this thing that she tells me if I get home and she's like, hey, did you get all your stuff done for the day? Again, not by work, but just, did you get it all done? I'm like, oh yeah, but I didn't have time. And she's like, you had time. You gotta allocate it properly, and you gotta focus on it, which is why I broke out that notepad to get it done, because it's easy to get sidetracked. But she keeps me in line, is the best way to put it, in a nice way.
Yeah. Tony Robbins, you guys listen to Tony Robbins at all? He just had his 3-day seminar this past weekend, actually, the free one that he does worldwide, where hundreds of thousands of people come on live. And there's one piece of it that I really love that he's been talking about more recently. And it's just like the different versions of you that come out in the appropriate times. So like, there's like the husband version of Lane that needs to come out. That's more maybe affectionate when it's time to be husband, versus like, you know, the business version of Lane that needs to come out, or even like the version of Lane that might have to be firm love, but he's like firing somebody at work and he has to be still, you know, love his employees, but also be firm and like, hey, here's the accountability things. Here's what we didn't hit. This is when we told you needed to be hit, or whatever it might be. But like, there's different versions of you that have to come on. So you're like constantly putting all these hats on, but it's good to like, I guess, consciously know that about yourself versus just always trying to stick the same hat on and try to be the same person in different situations, because it's hard. Because we all do that, especially as men. Like, we have to have our different dynamics of ourselves that come out. Do you have that in your life, in I guess your young marriage that's only been a year, you know, into your marriage?
Yeah, 100%. To your point, actually last summer, had a good friend of mine. She was working with us, and she had some things going on. I never really got the full story out of her, what was going on, but she just kept not showing up to jobs. And it ended up costing me a couple of clients. And so I brought her in the office, and she was like, you're firing me, aren't you? I'm like, I mean, yeah. But we still talk to this day, because I had to, in that moment, I had to follow business policies, which is, we have a 3-strike system. You don't show up 3 times in a row, no call, no shows. You're done. But I still have conversations to her with this day. She's got a great job. She's working as a chef at a nursing home. She's doing all these things, and, you know, it's good. And we're still keeping that open. Sometimes during the day, I can tell by the tone of my wife, there's a different phone call coming. If it's a real quick, hey babe, it's something about work. But if she starts talking to me in Spanish, it's she's being my wife.
Yeah.
Both of them I need to listen to very clearly. And
With Google Translate?
no, I understand for the most part.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's good.
And speak. But yeah, so to your point, yeah, it's definitely 3 different hats throughout the day, sometimes even 4, because then I get the call from my sister or my parents, and then I got to be the big brother or the son, you know? So.
Yeah, it's interesting to balance all those things as a young entrepreneur like yourself. And and just to figure it all out. And I think for you, like personally, I think you're at a point now where you're just reaching from camaraderie and colleagues to like gather around you at your level, which is hard. Like we talked about that before the show of like, how do you get in circles that are maybe even a little bit ahead of you, but we want that. Like we want the pressure to be around those folks. Has that been part of your strategy too? Is like, I know you said you've been meeting with maybe competitors and people like in your networks, but like even just like striving to be with somebody who's a couple steps ahead of you and just trying to learn as much as you can.
100%. Actually briefly talked about this with Chris. It's a struggle for me as I'm trying to change my life to find those fellow business owners that are grounded in their faith and are going to push me to be better as a husband, a father, as a believer, and as a business owner. It's really hard to relate to just the average 27-year-old guy. Because that's what I'm 27. So no offense to anyone who's watching this is 27, but there's different life paths that everyone has chosen. And so I try to put myself in circles where people are more advanced in all of those areas. And it's hard to do.
Yeah. I mean, we had, I don't know if you were on for this back when we had a fellow named Craig Glass, and he runs Peregrine Ministries, and his whole concept for what he wants to do with his life is help men become more godly men in business and in life. And it was a fascinating episode. I mean, he started way back in like the Soviet Union era, where he was smuggling Bibles into the Soviet Union in like the 70s, and talking about how they like retrofitted all these cars to have compartments to have the Bibles in. And like, it's been his life mission to do that. And you're right. Like, cause I'm faith-based as well. And like, when you do find someone who's trying to better themselves, not only like through their faith, but through business and in life, as a husband, as a friend, it's awesome to see, but it's hard to come by. But there are good things around here for like Colorado Springs specifically. There's a lot of good groups around here. It's just finding your tone with that specific group, right? And fitting in there. So it's interesting that you say that.
And finding the people who are real and genuine too.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure.
Because unfortunately, there's a lot of those people out there that'll just use the faith and the fish symbol and everything, but they're actually not about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's really interesting. Something we've been exploring personally and with our clients is you had this separation movement that happened, I don't know, 40s, 50s, 60s, where it was like, all right, separation of church and state, separation of business and life, industrial revolution. So we had these work days that were separated, as opposed to agrarian society where everything was all together, right? You lived on the farm or the ranch and you did life together. You did church together. You did all the things. We have really been working ourselves and then encouraging our clients to say, it's all one thing. Life is one thing. Your faith and your business and your family and your fitness, those are all connected, right? You can't just isolate pieces of those and say, well, I'm really out of shape, and so I hope my business and my family is doing well. And it's like, well, no, you're going to have a heart attack. Like that's going to happen. So you need to integrate being healthy and then having a spiritual, healthy relationship with God and your wife. How do we reintegrate those where when you're going through your day, it's not, okay, I've got to be with my kids and then do this and then do this and then invite God in at the end of the night when I have some time. It's like, how do we just have that be one thing that flows through? And we've talked about this, even just communicating with my kids when I'm gone somewhere at night, which I try not to do. They know what I'm doing. Even this morning, they're like, oh, we don't want you to be gone tonight. And I'm like, well, here's what we're doing. We're trying to expand Colorado Springs. We're trying to help other people. We're trying to serve other people. It's part of the mission. They still don't like it, but now they understand that it's flowing through in one thing. And even with our relationship is we want to do life with business people that are people of faith and people that aren't of faith, but be able to integrate more pieces of those pillars, the pillars on the life sheet. If I can be doing fun in business and have freedom in business and have my faith in business and have my fitness be, part of that, like go do fun thing, go do hikes with business owners where we're talking about business. The more we can break those silos down, I think it's how God built us to where we have congruence in our life, as opposed to feeling like all right, I can't talk about my faith because this person I know is not a believer. And it's like, well, I kind of don't care. That's who I am. It's not affecting who they are. They can be who they are. And that's great too. But the older I get, the more I want it all to be one thing, which I think is what integrity is. It's being the same where you are all the time. And I'm not all the time, right? That's something that I'm working on to make sure that I'm the same person that's parenting my kids, that's coaching them and their baseball team, that's doing business deals. And I hope it all starts flowing even, more and more the more I practice it. So yeah, it's interesting.
Do you want to break down that life sheet? Because I think it's so important to break down the life sheet for sure for our audience that Chris presented to you.
Yeah, and I'm happy to send this out to any of the audience. So when we use a system called EOS in our business, and they have something called the VTO, which is a 2-page business plan, right? And you guys use it. When we were doing that, I was like, well, the cadence and the things are the same in your personal life. So what if we just had a 2-page business plan for your life? And we actually have business components, but we started thinking through, and there's tons of great research, and Tony Robbins has some great stuff. There's a bunch of stuff out there. This is not unique to us. We just put it all together. But we really wanted to say, if I'm doing quarterly planning with my wife, that's going to include our business and our wealth and other things, how do we do that systematically, right? The same way I would with my business. So we built it where you've got kind of a 3-year plan, a 1-year plan, and then we broke the pillars down where we think you should put energy. Now, you may say some of these I'm not as focused on, but you should be putting energy into your faith, into your family and friends, into your finances, into your fitness, into your fun, into your freedom. Like, there are things that if you look at the people that have had the greatest lives that I admire, at the end of their lives, the eulogy virtue, these are things that they put consistent energy into, as opposed to just, and this is where it came up. I know some really miserable, very high net worth people that are divorced, that their kids hate them, that are overweight and have health problems, but they're really rich. And my wife and I were like, we don't want that. Like, that's not what we want for our family. Like, we want to be 100 years old and have good fitness to where we can do things and have our great grandkids be able to, want to hang out with us, and our kids have my relationship with God be growing. And also, I want to grow our wealth. I want our profitability and our cash flow and our net worth to go up every year, because it's hard to help people when you're broke. And we think that's good stewardship. But we just put that all on a couple page, and we just give it to people, and some people never use it, but the people that use it, it changes their life, because it just simplifies everything to say, once a quarter, you look through everything and you come up with new goals, and then you go do those.
Man, love that.
Yeah,
it's incredible. Sure. So, I mean, obviously he threw that on you yesterday, I think it was.
Yeah.
But have you gotten kind of started with any of those things on the life sheet?
Mentally, he actually sent it to me in an email earlier today, printed off. I'm going to work on it tonight with Paula, because I'm really excited about it. It's being able to put down the things that we've talked about and the different goals and things that we want to put time into on a piece of paper, and be able to have something, even if it's a piece of paper, we can throw it away, we can shred it, but to have something tangible that can hold us accountable, and almost a reminder, like you were saying, quarterly, like, hey, how are we progressing in these certain things?
We'd like to take a quick break and thank our sponsors.
Lightning Glassworks and Screens. Lightning Glassworks and Screens is Colorado's go-to for fast, reliable window and glass repair.
Family owned for over 30 years, their mobile service team brings glass in a flash right to your home or business.
Call or text 719-649-4001 or visit fastglassrepair.com.
Lightning Glassworks, Colorado Springs, the local experts in glass repair, and window replacement.
Bright Leaf Energy. Bright Leaf Energy is revolutionizing how sustainability goals are achieved across commercial and industrial real estate.
They're the experts in building decarbonization, bringing collaboration, innovation, and flexibility to every project.
Whether you need a strategic decarbonization roadmap or flexible engineering support to scale your team, Bright Leaf Energy helps you crush your ESG goals while increasing NOI.
Learn more at brightleafenergy.co. That's brightleafenergy.co.
Junkin Hall.
Need to clear out clutter fast?
Junkin Hall is Colorado Springs' go-to for same-day junk removal
with the eco-friendly service and a 5-star team you can trust.
Visit junkinhall.com to schedule your free estimate today. That's JUNKNHAUL.com.
Be Our Guest Getaways. Be Our Guest Getaways specializes in Disney cruise resort and theme park vacations.
Planning a Disney vacation can be stressful, Let Be Our Guest Getaways provide you with concierge-level service for free.
Learn more at beourguestgetaways.com. That's beourguestgetaways.com. Planet Duct.
Planet Duct is the #1 choice for professional air duct cleaning in Colorado Springs and Southern Colorado. With state-of-the-art equipment and top-tier service, they make sure the air in your home or business is clean and allergen-free. Breathe easier with Planet Duct. Learn more at planetduct.com.
Fast Signs. From banners to vehicle wraps, Fast Signs delivers custom visual solutions to help your business stand out. Their team ensures your message is clear, bold, and effective. Get your signage needed handled at fastsigns.com. That's fastsigns.com.
Proud American Electrical and Solar.
Give Proud American Electrical and Solar a call today for all your electrical and solar needs. They are locally owned and operated business right here in Colorado Springs. If you're looking for information on solar, this is the company you will want to call. Check out their website at proudamericansolar.com. Use promo code COSBusiness for a 5% discount today.
Pinnacle Advanced Primary Care.
Pinnacle Advanced Primary Care offers affordable, accessible healthcare with a focus on you. They provide exceptional primary care without the hassle of insurance barriers. Experience a patient-centered approach. Learn more at pinnacleapc.com.
And now let's get back to the show.
The other beautiful thing too is when you maintain, it could be PDF or paper. I've got both, but it allows you to see your progress. You know, oftentimes we put stuff into an app and it's tracking you, but you don't go back and you're like, okay, Q2 of 2023, where was I?
Mm-hmm.
And I look at that and I'm like, wow, I didn't feel like we made that much progress, but in 2.5, 3 years, we have absolutely made a ton of progress. And then you start going back 5 years, and that's really when it becomes really incredible. Yeah. And that's when you can, I always tell people, and this is a Dan Sullivan quote, there's no unrealistic goals, only unrealistic timelines.
Mm-hmm.
And oftentimes we think it's going to take us 10 years to get this goal, and it might take us 3. And that's pretty cool as a human to be like, we can create really great things in way less time than we think it is, or maybe it takes longer, but yeah. It's cool.
It's so interesting because it's like, it's funny because my girlfriend, not business person, and I have been very intentional with my things that I want to roadmap for my life always. And the way that she took it originally when I was like, I want to be intentional about what we do this year or the next 3 years or 5 is she's like, you can't fit business into our personal lives. And then what she realized is like, it wasn't business. I'm just being intentional with our time because the people that I find who are the most lost in life have no direction or any intention behind what they're doing. But if you can roadmap, like, this is what I want, like 3 year, 1 year, 10 year, whatever it might be, you can be intentional with your time. And it's so important. I feel like that's what a lot of young folks, whether it's business or not, are missing from their lives is like they need that roadmap. It doesn't have to be the same for everybody, but they need that roadmap.
For sure.
Yeah, and discipline.
Yeah.
And discipline. Yep.
Discipline. My dad always says you can want all you want, but nothing's going to come out of it without discipline. And it's true. And I feel like that's something that I've been trying to teach these people that I'm helping them start their small businesses on the side and all that stuff. It all comes down to discipline. The only reason that all of us are sitting here today is because we had a goal and we worked at it daily. If you're not doing that, then the goal just will never materialize.
100%. For sure. I talk to my team. So we do quarterly planning with our team. Some of them take us up on it. Some don't. But I've gotten a lot more forceful with the words that I use because I think people are used to people being really nice, right? And hey, you're doing good. Well, they're not doing good. So it's not helpful for you to tell somebody who's struggling, just keep doing what you're doing. You're good, boo. Like, that's not useful. And at the end of the year, I just said to my team, I said, look, we have the opportunity to make 2026 the greatest year, both collectively and individually. However, if you do the same exact thing you did in 2025, you're going to have a worse year because it's accelerating. We've got inflation, we have AI, we have all these things that are working against you. There's no stasis. So if you want this to be the greatest year of your life, you have to do things dramatically different. Even if you're like, hey, I want to do financially better. Okay, cool. Well, let's build a budget and let's just work on sticking with a budget for a month, right? Let's start building the habits. Atomic Habits is a great book that we use with our team. If you're just like, hey, I want to be a little bit healthier, cool. What's the smallest thing you could do? Put on your tennis shoes, walk for 5 minutes. But if you want a better life and you do the same thing, expect a worse life. Not the same life as 2025. Expect a worse life, because life is moving around you. And my team was kind of like, we didn't want to hear that. But then the group that really is willing to be disciplined and do the hard work is like, you're right. Things are getting harder. Like, we need to do some different things this year. And that's like, we invite everybody into this conversation because we want people to have that exceptional life. But if you want an exceptional life, you got to do things that other people won't do.
Totally.
You know?
How do you personally, like when we're talking about discipline, how do you instill discipline with your colleagues, with your employees, with those who look at you as a mentor? How do you break it down for them? Because discipline, it's one word, but it's hard to come by because it's like a consistency over a long period of time. So like, how do you break it down for folks?
I think really the only way to explain or teach discipline is to, in a very gentle, loving way, force it upon people. Because that's the way I learned. So my dad's military and very loving dad, but also raised us like a military household.
Mm-hmm.
You need to do your chores. You need to wake up at this same time every day. And we also had some land back in Texas. You need to get all this done on there. Take care of what you need to do. And so that obviously has carried me to where I'm at today in terms of discipline. But when I'm helping these other people, the way I have to do it is calling in and texting until I can get a sense or feeling that it's starting to take off for them. Like the first person that I took on with his mobile mechanic shop, it was a battle for like 8 months to get him to where I knew he could be. Of, hey, I won't say his name on here, but hey, so-and-so, how are you doing today? We're checking in today. I'm going to call you again tomorrow. And it's just getting him to that habit that he needs to check in on himself. Because that's what discipline, I think, ultimately comes down to, is checking in on yourself. All of us sitting here have had mornings. For me, it was this morning, but I texted you at 5 o'clock in the morning of where we don't want to get up. But we have to push through that. So by making it uncomfortable, by Lane is checking on them every day, I've seen some success in that, because it's something that it comes with practice and time.
Yep. Yeah, we've talked a little bit about this too, which is normalizing the suck, right? People think that life is going to be easy. And there's a quote that, and I think this applies to everybody, but as an entrepreneur, you'll never have 2 good days in a row. I kind of think that's just life. Like, as a human being, you probably won't have 2 good days in a row. And that's okay. And that's normal. And once you normalize it, then it's not as big of a deal, right? You wake up and you're like, I woke up kind of in a bad mood today. Why? I don't know. It just happened. So let me not dwell on it and think I have depression or something. Now, if you do, obviously you should get help. But half the days you wake up and you're probably in a bad mood, and you start in that mood. And even with my kids, I've noticed this, the forced discipline. So I've got one kid that wakes up just in a great mood every day, and the other 2 that wake up in a miserable mood every day. And so I was like, I've got to figure out this trigger to get them all moving in a positive light as we go, breakfast, get ready. And so I just started, and my wife hated it when I did it, but I started blasting 1950s radio, because it's all like doo-wop, positive, fast paced blasting. Like, I'll turn Alexa up to 10. And pretty soon I noticed the kids would wake up and they'd be singing, they'd be kind of moving. And I'm like, I want it. And this is a Tony Robbins thing. It's like, how do you reframe that, frame from I woke up grumpy to, oh, pancakes are ready and we're singing 1950s radio, because we all have that negative tendency.
Yeah.
But if we normalize it and we say, hey, that's normal. It's normal for us half the week to be like, wow, this day might kind of suck. Now, if I can reframe around, hey, but I'm alive and I live in the US, so I won a lottery ticket and I get to hang out with people that I love, and I have my health, and my wife has like, when you start working on those gratitudes, all of a sudden you reframe that mindset. And helping people do that, I think, is tough, but that's really, like you said, a little bit of the force structure around it.
Yeah, just last week, I made a video on that actually. The day started out great, and then middle of the day, I can't remember exactly what time it was. I was in a home doing carpet cleaning, and my heat exchanger for the carpet cleaning truck burst, like exploded. There's coolant and water going all over the
Oh
place.
man.
It horrible. And for a couple of seconds, I said a couple words in my head, and then I stood off to the side and cried a little bit. And then I was like, you know what though? Like, I have a carpet truck. I have a business. My client's waiting on me to get this fixed. So with some considerable cash, we got it fixed and we were able to go back that same day and get it done and continue on the rest of our day and everything. But I was talking about in that video, you have two choices when something like that happens. You can either let it ruin your entire day, walk back into the client and say, hey, my truck's down. I don't know what to do. I'm sorry. And just quit, give up on the day. Or you can figure it out and come back. And you know what? The client actually gave us a really good review. And she was like, they had problems with their truck and they still showed back up and they got it done. So it's your mindset.
For sure.
Like you were just saying, everything can be going great at the beginning of the day and it can go horribly at the middle of the day. How are you going to end the day?
100%. That is it happening for me or to me? And I had the same thing 2 weeks ago. I went to Loyal Coffee to have a meeting, and I just bought a new used truck, and I was really excited about it. Someone drove by and knocked my mirror off.
Oh, what?
And I was so mad. I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, first of all, they knocked it off and kept driving, which is terrible. If you see this episode, you owe me $1,600. But second, you take it to the dealership, and instead of it being like, oh, this is $100, it's like, oh no, with all the electronics in your mirror, it's $1,600. And I'm like so angry. And then I had that same thing. I was like, okay, I can either be mad for a while because it's going to take them 5 days to fix this thing, or I can be like, there's a reason this happened and I want to take advantage. And the reason was my wife and I we work together. We never drive to work together because we always we got to drive together for 3 days and just drive to work and talk and goof around and joke. And I was like, okay, that is one of the things that was a benefit to somebody, some jerk off knocking off my marriage. Still a jerk off, right? Still somebody that like, that's not the right thing to do. But I just reframed it like you were saying, and you probably got that Google review because they were like, this is a guy that took a bad situation and didn't let it affect his service.
As soon as it happened, the client actually walked outside. It's how it always goes. The client walked outside and saw the coolant and water going all over the place. And she was like, oh, I was like, yeah. So I'm going to unhook my hoses and I'm going to be gone for about an hour and a half to 2 hours and I'll be right back. And yeah, in the story, we got it done. But the old Lane, back the first time I was on the show, I had a lot of pent up, I wouldn't say rage, more like anger. So it probably would have been throwing the wrench inside the truck and just mad as all get out and slamming the door on the truck and not even telling the client what's going on and everything. So going back to some of the personal growth, that's
that's the treasure, man. I love what you said, the old Lane. That's what I think about too, is like the old Marcus, the old Chris. I'm like, that person's dead. They ain't coming back. That's what I'm proud of. That's really cool.
Love it, man. That's so great. I also want to talk about, because we haven't covered this yet, but like you kind of briefly said it a second ago, but your videos that you've been producing as well. Talk a little bit about that, because I saw your channel and you just started launching some videos. Talk a little bit more about like what you're trying to do there, the intentionality behind that whole thing. I think it's pretty cool. And by the way, really cool thumbnails that you've been putting up with that.
Thanks.
That channel.
Yeah. So for a long time, I approached helping people with business with the wrong mindset of I'm going to help people and I'm going to sell the course and I'm going to get the Lambo and life's going to be great. And then when I swapped my attitude and everything, I stepped away from all that completely because I was trying to recenter myself. And at probably about the middle of last year, I started posting up TikToks on just tips and tricks on running a cleaning company. And then right around Christmas, I was sitting there thinking, how do I turn this into something for the average person to just pick up rather than a $3,000 to $5,000 course? How do I turn this into something to where they can just log into YouTube or go onto school, because that's the other platform I'm on,
Mm-hmm.
and follow everything that I've written out and build something out of it. And so what I've built is called Scrub the Six Figures. I wrote a very short book on it. It's on Amazon. And then I have a school community, which basically takes you from working a 9 to 5, but building a business on the side. And I'm very clear about not building a side hustle, because you have to have those time boundaries. Oftentimes with side hustles, we can stack so many of them to where we're going to break down. So not reaching that burnout period, and intentionally building your business on the side, and not leaving your 9 to 5 job like that, because you don't know where those relationships, your managers, I give the example in my videos on YouTube, your managers, maybe you're working at Walmart. Well, your store manager, they probably have a good sized house. They're probably looking for a cleaner. You don't want to be, peace out, I started my own business. Who knows? And be like, hey, you're doing that thing on the side. Do you think you could help me out on Saturday when you're not working? So working off of respect and integrity, and also building the smart way. And so basically I have 3 modules on my school community. Working on finishing up filming all the videos. They're real short. They're under 5 minutes each. And it just goes along with the modules. And then on the side, having just little tips and tricks or videos on things that I didn't even think to put into the school group. When the truck explodes, how do you respond? Or I'm having problems with a client right now. How do you respond? Things like that. Just really give people the information that I never got, and not charge an arm and a leg for it. There'll be a time maybe when people are like, hey, I want you to fly out to Atlanta and help me for a month, fix my cleaning company. Well, then that's probably going to be a bigger fee, because I want to bring my family with me so they can experience Atlanta and see it. But that's not now.
Why is that so important for you to give back to those who are thinking about taking the leap to go on into business on their own, or who are a few years in but haven't hit that 6-figure mark? Why is all that so important for you to help them get to that level?
Because of the junk on YouTube. There are so many people out there that are promising in 30 days you'll hit 6 figures. It's not true. Now, in my first year, I started, we made a considerable amount of money, but promising these people 4 weeks from now, you're going to have $100,000 in your bank account, or even 8 weeks from now. I mean, could that happen? Possibly. Could you land a huge contract? Yeah. But I mean, that's not realistic, and setting those people up for failure because they feel like they're not doing a good job, because they're not meeting those markers that the guru told them they could meet, I don't think is good and helpful. And also, when I was starting a cleaning company, there is so much content on what you need to do, and sifting through everything to try to figure out what I actually really need to do. That's hard. And having people tell you, because there's even this trend out there of people like, oh, just give the bird to your 9 to 5 and just go start your thing. No. And today's economy, with everything that's going on, you need to have that fallback. And especially if you have a wife and kids to feed at home. I think that's probably the most irresponsible thing you can do as a husband or a wife, depending on who's starting the cleaning company, is to just be like, oh, well, I'll figure it out. Now, there's that element of operating on faith, for sure, but you got to be smart. So
that's so important. We've had a lot of clients that have come to us in a really bad spot. And I've really said, number one, don't believe stuff on YouTube. And if you're taking counsel, vet that counsel. If somebody's talking to you about finances, they dang well better be really rich, right? If they're talking to you about faith, they better have a great relationship with God. If they're talking to you about business, they better have an awesome business that's creating profit and growing and all the things. If they're talking about execution, they better be better. But most of them aren't. I mean, there's people all the time that are giving us advice on parenting. And I'm like, I don't want your kids. Your kids are orangutans and they're on their screens all the time. Those aren't the kids I want. So the counsel they give me, I'm just like, thank you. Appreciate it.
Yep.
Love you, but it's not for me. There's a ton of broke people that tell me all the time what I should be investing in. And I'm like, I know that I'm worth more than you, and not in a mean way, but I know this skill better than you do. Same thing on the face side. So I keep pushing into that because I have fought so much. I call them like the YouTube fallacies or the YouTube gimmicks. There's so many people that are great at marketing that put this beautiful thing out there, and I watch it and I'm like, wow, that's totally wrong. But they've got 1 million views. I'm like, that's categorically false. And if you read a book, you'd know that was wrong. But it's really important. And I would tell our audience, like, you got to vet the people you're taking counsel from, whether it be your CPA or your attorney, your financial advisor, whoever, any of your advisors. If they're giving you advice, you should ask them, well, tell me how you've been successful. Like, show me, not just give me a story about some nebulous thing, but show me how you've been more successful than me in this area before I say, I'm going to take that to the bank and go do the thing.
Yeah.
It's really fascinating.
It's true.
Yeah, what would you guys both say? So this is a question for both of you guys we're kind of touching on this, but like the young 20-something-year-old who's just trying to sift through the BS and trying to figure it out. And they want to go out on their own. And I think that's a great point you brought up, by the way, of like sticking to the foundation of what's bringing in stable income before you take the leap of faith. I talk about that all the time with our friends personally about like, don't take the leap of faith too early. Make sure you're stabilized, especially if you have family and kids. But also sifting through so much noise in the marketplace of like, get rich in 30 days or do this and you'll be rich by, whatever it might be, right? What advice do you give to the young folks out there, maybe particularly the young men out there who are looking to become a provider in the next several years when they hit their 30s, but they're just looking for things to pull from, things to really help them get to that level where they're just learning the skills necessary to be a good business owner? We'll start with, you want to start?
Okay. Slow down. It's super simple, but truly slow down because nothing good comes easy and nothing, like the old saying, Rome wasn't built overnight. Like, just take time and focus on the little things. And something else my dad always says, I don't know where this saying came from, but take time to smell the roses. Because there's a lot of beautiful things about enjoying the journey and not focusing so much on what the end goal is. And that's something I can attest to. Like I said, I got everything at the end of my first journey. I got it all, but it didn't mean anything. So focus on the journey, the people you meet, the relationships, and all those types of things. It'll come.
Beautiful.
I think 2 things, and I want you to answer this too, Marcus, but 2 things that I've been reflecting on is know what are principles. So principles are truth all the time, right? This thing will be true and has been true 1,000 years ago. So know what are principles and write them down. And when you understand those principles, you can test everything against that. There are business principles that have been around for thousands of years that will be the same, no matter what AI does, no matter how things change, that if you stick with those basic business principles, you will be successful. They're the same. They've always been the same. I'm rereading a book, and this is the second piece. There's a book by Napoleon Hill. So Napoleon Hill's famous book is Think and Grow Rich. I believe his best book is a book called How to Own Your Own Mind. It maps out literally how to build a great life. And it's a lot of the things that we've tied into the life sheet. They have been true since 1920 or whenever he wrote that book. They're still the same things. It's how do you create clarity of the vision of where you want to go, clarity of where you are, build a path, surround yourself with the right tribe, mastermind. Like all of the things in that book have been proven to be true for 100+ years. And the second piece is stop watching YouTube videos from 20-year-olds that are talking about the specific thing. And that's not a dig against you at all. Watch Lane's videos and our videos.
Yeah.
Of course, those are the best.
Please subscribe.
But read old books, right? How to own your own mind, Think and Grow Rich, How to Win Friends and Influence People. There's books that have been around for 100 years that when you open it up, you're like, oh my gosh, how to win friends and influence people. If you just did that with your clients, you'd have a successful business. Like it's very basic stuff, but it's been time tested. And there's all these new things that are coming. Oh, we've got this new trick and we've got this new hack. I'm against hacks. I agree with you. You got to go slow. You don't earn anything great in life by going fast. There are some really lucky people. There's a lot of people that made a ton of money in Bitcoin or cryptocurrency all the people I know that did lost it. They
Mm.
don't have it anymore. The reason is they didn't learn the principles around how to actually have that wealth and build that wealth and keep that wealth. They just were, and not luck necessarily. They might have been really smart, but they had an opportunity, they capitalized on it, and now they've lost it. So I think just the principles, and then read old books. And I know that's no one reads anymore, but I'm like, you gotta, if you're a leader, you gotta be a reader. I can't remember who said that, but that's the reality.
Yeah.
YouTube videos is a snack, right? It's like eating a bag of chips. The books is like eating that 4-course meal where you're getting that sustenance. But what are your thoughts?
Dude,
how do
you
you
took
get
a
it
lot
down?
out of what I was about to say because that was some great
You should have gone
stuff.
first.
I know.
That's what you always got to go first.
So true about reading books. That, like, if anything in the 20s, I always tell my niece and nephews is like the 20s specifically, if you can use that decade to attain as much skills as you possibly can. That is the time to get the skills. That is the time. It's not necessarily the time to make money. You can make money. You've done really well for yourself in your 20s. That's amazing. But most people need to learn to gain those skills. Reading the books. Og Mandino is one of my favorite authors of all time.
Oh, yeah.
Greatest salesman in the world.
Dude,
I love
that's
that
so
book.
good.
And it's
Yeah.
actually a Christian-based book. Most people don't believe that because it's in the business section, but it is. It's a great book. But like getting those skills, because we all try to jump around and do so much, right? But gaining the skills. Go work for, if you want to be a marketing agency owner, go work for a marketing agency. Or if you have a business that you really want to be a business owner for, go work at one that has high standards. Go work for that. You're going to hack so many thousands of hours from the greats who have high standards, who have systems in place. One of the best things I ever did in my 20s is go work for a marketing agency and be like, okay, this is why they make $150 million a year, because they have the systems in place. This is why people come from all over the world to want to work for this place. I get it. I understand why the standards mean so much to, a business, because it attracts the best of the best, right? A players want to play with A players. So use your 20s to gain as much skills as you possibly can, and learn as much as you can. Be a sponge, man.
Mhm.
And like learn and get some great mentors, and like find young friends who are hungry, who want to do the same thing with you, and build a camaraderie around just being successful in the ways that we talked about on this show, right? About, for us specifically, might be closer to our faith, and build with faith-based friends, right? Those types of things. So that's what I would tell folks, is like, use that time. It's a special time. It's a time when you're just finally getting out on your own. It's like a beautiful intersection of like independence and freedom, right? Because like you're getting out of the house and you're learning so much. And like, I don't know about you guys, but like in my 20s, I just wanted to learn everything about business. I was obsessed, and I could read, and I had the time to do that. I didn't necessarily have a family yet. So it was just a beautiful time. And if you use it right, it's such a special time. It really, really is. And you have way more time than you think you do. Like, when you're in your 20s, you're like, man, when I hit 30, like it's all over. Like I'm older and I'm an adult now in some ways, but like you realize once you're in your 30s, you're like, dude, I'm still young. I'm still pretty spry, Lane. Okay. And so is Chris. So we're pretty spry, man. I always thought it would be different, and it's not. So that's what I think. I think gain the skills as best as you can in your 20s. That's what I would tell all the young, hungry folks out there who are just wanting to better themselves.
I want to add one thing, because I touched on it briefly, but in that book, it talks so much about the tribe.
Mm-hmm.
So this country was founded, our founders was a mastermind, basically. You had the top, most brilliant, action-oriented people that said, hey, we want to try a new experiment where we give all the power to the people. And we aren't the Church of England, and we aren't the country of England. And we want to put that power in the hands of the people. Your tribe is everything. You want to hang out and be a broke person, hang out with broke people. You want to be drunk all the time, hang out with people hanging out at the bars all the time. But if you don't want those things, right? If you want a great family and fortune and freedom and fitness, hang out with those people. And you intuitively know that, but I have another tool we created is the tribe tracker, because I was intuitively thinking about that. I'm like, oh man, I really want to be around those people. But I was like, I'm not actually tracking that. Like, who am I spending the most time with? And I'll tell you why this was important. I was like 30 pounds heavier than I am now. And I'm like, why is that? Why am I so pudgy? And I realized I'm hanging out with people that are never working out. We're drinking more than we should. We're eating these huge meals. And I was like, I don't want that for my life and my fitness pillar. How do I track being around people that are like a Marcus. Hey, let's go on a hike. I'm like, sweet. I would always, I want to hang out with you and go on a hike. So I think that tribe piece, as you're young, don't be flippant about that. You can still have your high school friends that you hang out with on occasion, but if they're not going down the same path of what you want in life, you need to start curating the right people around you that want the same things and that will call you out. I mean, my brothers I'm one of 8, they're the first ones to be like, man, you are looking kind of pudgy, Chris. Like you ought to probably start working out more. And I'm like, you're right. It's time.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah.
I agree. That's something that at the beginning of the year when me and Paula sat down and had that eval, that was one of the aspects, because she always says you are the 5 people you surround yourself with.
She's a wise woman.
She is. She needs to come on here one of these days.
Golly.
So yeah, and it's finding the correct words to say or how to navigate that, because there are still going to be some of those people in your life that have been in there for years, and you don't want to just be like, yep, bye, never talking to you again, but also focusing on those iron sharpens iron people.
Yeah.
You know?
And I agree with that. You've got to be so kind. This is not hey, see ya. You were my old friends. That's not this approach at all.
Yeah.
But you get one life. We all get one life. And we know the people that were like, hey, we should probably be like hanging out with them every 6 months, not every week, kind of type of thing, you know, and be really diligent and calling people up, not out. I think, hey, some people that you're like, hey, our standards are higher. What's going on? What's happening here? Like, I love you and I want better for you. But yeah, I agree with that.
Do you consider yourself, because you're later 20s now. Have you gone through those specific phases of like, you have your old friends and it's kind of like, it's kind of the separation is starting to take place where and maybe this has already taken place for you, but I know for me personally, like I lost a good deal of friends when I was on fire, man, just to hit my dreams and my goals. And some of them went a different way. Some of them talked crap about me behind my back. Some of them loyal and just like such big champions, but had all those different types of, people in my inner circle that kind of diverged or stuck with or whatever. Have you had that moment?
Yeah. I mean, everyone that were my buddies back in high school, I don't really talk to any of them anymore. College was a blur for me. Same story there. I think I have two buddies in my life that have been fairly consistent, and it's because they themselves are business owners. One has a faith, the other one I'm trying to work with him on it. And but even then it's like, okay, so we have 2 out of the 3 commonalities that I'm wanting to be around. But not the whole pie. And so something, I don't know if you struggle with this or maybe you too, something I struggle with is finding those people, and it feels like they latch onto you and trying to still have somewhat of a relationship of depth with them, because it feels like you're reaching out more to them or you're helping them or you're always on them, and not the other way around. There needs to be that balance. So to answer your question in a very roundabout way, yes, I've seen people drop off all the time. And there's really only a couple that stick with me, but that's fine, because I know when something hits the fan, those are the people that I can count on to come help me, and me for them too.
That's a beautiful way to put it. And then like you said, like those friends that say that latch onto you, and maybe they're just like, you're a strong force for them, and I've had many times in my life where I've had a really big heart and people have latched onto me, and some of them in not the best ways. And I've found myself being kind of codependent to them, right? And just like helping them because I feel like I'm the nurturer in that situation. And then they screwed me over in X, Y, and Z or whatever it might have been. But the truth of that is, like, someone like you who's a strong personality, who's probably got a really big heart, I'm sensing that from you, is don't ever let that slight your heart, man. Like, ever. Like, always continue to have a really big open heart. Have your boundaries up and like know when, it's a little too far or whatever, but don't lose that heart, because that heart is the driver of your business without a doubt. And so that's just advice from me to you. If someone, who's gone through something like that, that's similar, that's gone through a bunch of heartache, but like, I know that like, I want to keep my big heart intact because I know how how it affects people in such a positive way. And that's one of my favorite parts about myself personally, is like, I still have that despite all the things. Right.
Yeah.
And so like, I wish that upon you and pray that upon you, man, for sure. Appreciate it.
I think another kind of principle that we don't like to acknowledge is every relationship has an expiration date. It's just the length of the season. And we always want to be like, oh, we're going to be together forever. We're going to be friends forever. We're going to be partners forever. Number one, we all die, right? So every relationship has an expiration date. A lot of times we don't get to choose that expiration date. Sometimes we do, but that's a natural thing, right? We should expect there's going to be people that had a huge impact in our lives that came and they were there for 3 years and then they moved, or, something else happened. And I think we, instead of celebrating that and being like, man, I'm so thankful that they were in my life, we harbor this like, why aren't they still in it? Why didn't it last longer? Instead of just being like, thank you, God, and release that relationship. It happened and it was great. There's people that I thought we were going to be in business with for 20 years that I haven't even talked to in 2 years. And that's a good thing, right? They were on their path and we were on our path and we started diverging. And for me, as soon as I released that, and even just with our family, my grandma passed away a few months ago. She was one of the most important people in my life, but it was the most beautiful passing because I knew she has an expiration date. All of us do. And we were able to just glory and enjoy the time as she was getting closer to her passing. And she loved Jesus, so I know where she is. But that for me was just like a much easier release because I'm like, I love you. I want you to go where you need to go. And thank you for the time. And I knew that our time was limited. All of our times are limited.
Yeah. That struck something inside of me. That's something that I forgot to talk about in this growth journey. So my grandpa passed away in 2024. My best friend, my biggest cheerleader, and I got the call that he was going and he wasn't talking to anyone or anything like that. And so I hopped right in the car and I went straight to Albuquerque. He lived in Albuquerque. I got there and I started talking with him. And I told him, I was like, Papa, my life is going to crap. Like, I don't know what to do. I feel lost. My company is not great. Like, all the stuff that I had done is falling apart. My relationship is falling apart. I mean, my fault, her fault, however you want to slice it up. And he said, number one, you built that company. You got too arrogant, but you need to not let that company go. So you need to get back there and fix it. And the same with your relationship. Get back there and fix it. And so the relationship turned into a marriage and the company is where it's at. But anytime I feel like it's tough, I think about him because he was, all those rough nights of working till midnight because people didn't show up or whatever. That's who I called, he'd get me through it. So, but to your point, when he went a couple of days later, I knew where he was going and it was okay. Do I still miss him? Of course, but I know where he is and I enjoyed that relationship for the time that I had with it,
And what a blessing to have had that. My grandma, it was the same thing. She wasn't really talking and I went in there and I held her hand and no one can call me Chrissy, so never repeat, but she'd always call me Chrissy. And she's like, Chrissy, I love you. And I'm like, I love you too, Grandma. And then all my cousins were sitting out there and they're like, was she talking to you? I'm like, yeah. They're like, what'd she say? I'm like, she said, Chrissy, I love you. And you're my favorite grandson. And everyone was like, no, she didn't say that. I'm like, look, I was the only one in the room. So that's just what happened. But it was just such a celebration of thank you, God, for the time with this wonderful woman. Not, hey, why are you taking her away from me?
Yeah.
And once again, it's reframing that mindset around it. So that's beautiful, man. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, that's a cherished memory, man. My grandpa, just like yours, was a big part of my life too. All my festivals back in the day, he was a big, big champion of that. So I know how important those relationships are. It's especially when they exceed like a normal like grandparent, grandchild relationship, right? They mean something so important to you. So yes, thanks for jumping on here with us, by the way, man. This has been such a fun deep episode. We went so many different places. But before we wrap up, where do you see your company going this year? What are some big goals for yourself to kind of leave this episode off on?
So we got the carpet truck, of course. We're focusing heavily on carpet cleaning, and just doing the regular house cleaning on top of that. I had a great conversation yesterday with Chris, and I'm wanting to focus on conquering just Colorado. Focus here. Work on Denver, work on Pueblo. So staying close to home base and serving our clients the best that we can.
Hey, we know a little
So
something
great.
about that. Colorado Business Podcast rebrand. So
Exactly.
we're going to go after just like you, dude. Let's take it over, man. Spring's proud over here. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Love it, brother. Well, thanks again for coming on.
Thanks
This
for
is your
having me.
camera. Where can we find you?
You can find us on Facebook, Executive Cleaning and Carpet Cleaning Services. Same thing on Google. Or you can give us a call, 719-900-3289.
All right. Well, this has been the Colorado Business Podcast, and we'll see you guys on the next one.